Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real Film Talk. My name is Will Braunlich, and this show covers everything from movies, TV shows, and editorials. Today, we will take a look at the sequel to a movie that I think won most people over. We'll be covering Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Here is my reaction for the trailer. Alright, now we will take a look at Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
I'm an idiot.
No, you're not.
It's showtime!
I don't deserve these powers, if I'm being honest. Like, what am I even contributing?
Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
There's already a superhero with a red suit with a lightning bolt on it. Aquaman is
a really good show.
Huge and he's so manly. And Batman is so cool. And I'm
Of course, it's Batman.
I feel like a fraud. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the wizard gave me superpowers. And then everybody got superpowers. Where's everyone going?
I guess that's a pretty quick way to sum up the first movie.
Now everyone's kind of like doing their own thing, and I'm the only one trying to keep it together.
You understand I'm a pediatrician, right?
Well, there's the animal doll Easter egg.
Listen to me, Billy. The fate of your world depends on it. The daughters of Atlas are coming for you.
Children stole the power of all the gods. This is very personal, Billy.
Hey!
Look, I might not have as much experience as you, because I'm not super old like you. But I've seen all of the Fast and the Furious movies, lady. It's all about family!
Everybody?
Family! Guys, that was a signal!
Introducing the star of our show. His name is Shazam.
Shazam!
Now let's get down to business.
Your world will not survive this.
I don't know how we fight powers like this.
CG
I
dragon,
know how to fix
nice.
this dude, but I really don't.
Billy, everyone can be worthy. Let's give it a chance. Now go fight for your family. Go fight for the world.
Hey, there's Richard Legler. In Snow White.
I just threw a truck at a dragon. I love my life.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so looks pretty good. I really like the first Shazam. A little bit of a funny story about how I saw the first Shazam. This was back in college. Some friends, they, quote, kidnapped me to go see this movie after seeing Avengers Endgame. And honestly, I'm glad they did, because I ended up really liking this movie. It ended up being a lot better than I thought. I guess I was a little bit late into seeing it, because I think it came out in March of 2019. And this is going to come out in March of 2023. So yeah, I like the character of Shazam. I think he's starting to become one of my favorite heroes. I know that in the comics he's called Captain Marvel before Marvel eventually got the copyrights to the Captain Marvel name. So they went with Shazam, which I know is an acronym for all the gods he has the powers of, which I thought was a pretty clever, wordplay there. And I like Zachary Levi. I think this role was really good for him. Thought that I was a little bit worried that the movie was gonna be a little bit too goofy. And I did feel like that in the first movie, it switched its focus from being a comedy, it's kind of a scary movie at the same time, which felt completely distracting in my opinion. But overall, I still had a great time with it. I am very excited for this sequel. It's one of my most anticipated movies of 2023, and I will let you guys know what I think. Shazam, Fury of the Gods is directed once again by David F. Sandberg and stars Zachary Levi reprising his role as Shazam. In this movie, Billy and his foster family are put to the test when the Daughters of Atlas, played by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, look to bring chaos to our world. Now, before I give you my thoughts on this movie, I will share my thoughts on the first movie leading up to this one. I rewatched it to get familiar with the plot, and I really liked the first movie. I think it's clever, it's funny, it's heartwarming. I think some people would agree that this is a fresh take by bringing something funny funny and lighthearted to the DC universe, with some exceptions. So when it was announced that there was going to be a sequel, I was pretty excited to see what this new one had to bring, especially with how the first one ended. And after seeing this movie, I was honestly a little disappointed compared to the first one. I think one of the biggest praises of the movie also comes with one of the biggest problems I have as well, that being Jack Dylan Grazer as Freddy. He was the emotional centerpiece of the whole movie, and his performance stole the whole show. He wants to do things on his own and not worry about being a sidekick to Billy. I liked his chemistry between him and Rachel Zegler's character. It was simple, but still very believable. But that also brings up an issue I brought up just a little bit ago. While Jack Dylan Grazer was great, it felt like for most of the movie, Billy was kept off to the sidelines. Not so much Billy as his Shazam alter ego, but more as a teenager. Granted, the movie focus goes back onto him towards the climax, but after the beginning, he's been MIA leading up to the big final fight. The villains I thought were okay. I really liked Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu and thought they played the parts well enough, although I did feel like their motives were a little confusing at times as to what they really set out to do. Like one minute, they want to bring chaos. Then it's like, oh, we don't really want to do any of that. And later, we thought about that whole unleashing chaos on your world, and we think we're gonna go with that. And they also just seemed like generic comic book villains. Nothing great, but not enough to make them completely forgettable. Another issue I had with the movie is something I think a lot of people would agree on from the first movie, and that is the portrayal of Shazam. Zachary Levi does fantastic as always, and I'm glad he's gotten his name out there. He's done projects like the TV series Chuck, Disney's Tangled, and of course, Shazam. One movie I think he should get credit for more is his role as football legend Kurt Warner in American Underdog. It proves that he can tackle more serious roles, and he does it tremendously well, which brings me to what I want to mention in Shazam. They make Levi's character more goofy and childish, while they make Billy, played by Asher Angel, more serious and brooding. That made the two feel like completely different characters. Unfortunately, in the sequel, they make Shazam even more goofy in this movie. Billy is almost 18, yet his superhero persona acts more like a kid than the actual kid does. Granted, it does lead to a few good laughs, but unfortunately the comedy isn't as smart as it was in the first movie. One of the things that made the movie stand out was their commentary on superheroes and the cliches that come with their stories. One example I can think of that really stuck out, that seems to get a laugh out of me almost all the time, involves talking about the villain's speech to the hero, and it leads up to something I couldn't help but grin at. With all the sequels we've been getting, it's not so much a sequel fatigue or comic book movie fatigue. It's just what seems to be a running theme of movies, especially comic book movies, doing the same formula for a sequel. There are some emotional moments, but they weren't really as effective as they were in the last movie. And towards the end, I was exhausted from the whole thing. Overall, it just felt like a very generic comic book movie with nothing really that fresh or exciting added. I wouldn't go and say this is the worst way to eventually kick off James Gunn's DC universe, but I feel like it could have done much better. The script felt like it was written in the early 2000s, and it just so happened to show up in 2023. Yes, I know there was Spider-Man 2 and Batman Begins, and I don't know if this is better than Ant-Man, but it's for sure better than Black Adam. And for those who know me, or have seen my Ant-Man review, I wasn't really a huge fan of either one. There is a mid-credit scene though, that is pretty funny. That should help set everything up for other projects in the future. In the end, Shazam! Fury of the Gods is pretty average, with some really good performances, most notably from Angel and Grazer. The action was pretty fun, even if the climax felt underwhelming at times. And when it came time for the big showdown involving a big CGI army, wouldn't be a comic book movie if there isn't one. I was already checked out personally. I wish they could have done more with some of the characters, especially for Billy and the Daughters of Atlas. Another note I forgot to mention was not only Shazam more childish, but so were all the other kids as their superhero personas, and it felt pretty distracting. Perhaps I'll see it again, and maybe it'll be better on a second viewing. Maybe there's something I'm missing. But until then, my grade for Shazam! Fury of the Gods will be a C. Thank you all for watching this review. I hope you all enjoyed it, and until next time, this is Will Braunlich, and I will see you at the movies. Save a seat for me.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.